So let me ask you guys a question, right? Do you like giant monsters? Do you like the kaiju genre? Most importantly, do you love Godzilla? Do you like King Kong? Or do you love the MonsterVerse? Of film series, whatever you want to call it, right? So what if I told you that we actually got a video game that might or kind of sort of connected with the MonsterVerse, but not exactly, right? Well, I'm gonna have to say this right now. We're gonna have to keep searching a little further, and we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer for that because recently, Skull Island: Rise of Kong came out. People are able to play it, and it is a shit fest for sure. Honestly, like I had to pre-record this video so many times. I don't even know where to even begin exactly. Like, there is no rhyme or reason with this game. I'm just gonna say it without a doubt. It is true what a lot of people have said. That for sure, this is definitely like one of the worst games of 2023, and that is saying it very subtly, especially considering that we had games like Gollum that came out, and that game was so bad it pretty much shut down like the people that pretty much made it. And to make things even worse, when they offered the apology, for creating such a shit game, I think from what I've heard that it wasn't even like a real apology. It was actually an AI generated like apology letter. I'm like, what is going on? Don't get me wrong. Luckily for 2023, we got our fair share of good games. Thank goodness. Of course we got like Mortal Kombat 1, Resident Evil 4. I don't know if you ask me, that's definitely one of the like I'm a Resident Evil fan, okay? So I'm gonna say that. Yeah, I think Resident Evil 4 Remake is definitely like one of the best games of 2023. But don't take my word for it because I haven't played Mortal Kombat 1, nor have I played. Well, it's not even. I don't even know if it's out yet. I don't think so. I know some people are getting copies of Spider-Man 2 early, but if I haven't played those games, I can't really say for sure if I like them or not. So just take what I say with a grain of salt, okay? It's just bear with me, right? But as someone sure, I might look like a toy channel. Okay, I do. I get it. You watch me, your first impression is like, wow, how's he able to afford all this? Don't worry. I could afford it, right? But no, I've definitely, of course, talked about Godzilla. I've talked about Ultraman. I've talked about all those kind of, different characters within the giant monster genre for sure. So I feel like, at least for this video, I feel completely justified to talk shit about this game, even though I haven't played it. Because here's the problem with me. I'm the type of person where if I want to, if I hear that a game is not like doing so well, if it's like bad or so and all that, if there's like a lot of kind of issues with it, either I want to at least see some more gameplay first, or if I'm able to at least play it, I'm kind of one of those people. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know where to really, I don't know what's the exact words for it, and I'm trying to think of a weird example, I mean, I'll guess I'll use this one, even though it's not really a good example. I know that years and years ago when Resident Evil 3 Remake came out, and a lot of people were talking shit about it because it was a short game, there was a lot of things that were removed and stuff like that. So even though I did end up buying the game and I beat it and all that though, I still enjoyed it despite some of the issues that it had because yes, it is not a perfect game, it really isn't, but it is far from being like a god awful game. Like, no, hold up. These people exaggerate online. I'm gonna say it right now. Hey, this, however, people are not exaggerating. Skull Island Rise of Kong, it's hot garbage. My god. Like, honestly, people had issues with it the moment the trailer first came out, where if you watched it, it's pretty obvious that they were going for a much more sort of cartoony or sort of comic booky vibe to it. I don't really know exactly how to really describe it. It's like everything feels kind of smooth. I don't know how to really say it in particular. If you've seen like the screenshots, if you've seen a couple of the things that people have posted about the game, I think you guys will know exactly what I'm talking about. Because me just describing it to you, I know that it's not really gonna help out the situation. All I'm gonna say is that I don't mind games that go in a different style. Streets of Rage 4 went for a very completely different, like art style and all that. Streets of Rage was always known for being like the 16-bit like beat 'em ups and all that, and then it came the fourth game where it was the exact same thing, but obviously everything was like hand drawn, everything was like cartoony, and it worked, which is like wow, so you got like a really good game. And it's been patched up so many times, and the game still ends up being like perfect. This, however, is not perfect though. In this game, it's like a lot of people compare it to like being a PS2 game or a PS3 game, which I mean, I feel like that's kind of an insult to those consoles because there are PlayStation 2 and PS3 games that like age like fine wine for sure, that are pretty good. I mean, look at the old God of War games. You can play them in current time, and it's like they'll still end up being one of the best video games you would ever play. And I'm talking specifically when they first started. We're talking like God of War 1 and 2, you know. Not 3, because eventually that came out on PS3 and then got a remaster on PS4. So, you know, you get the idea. It's like, I don't know. And it's like the movement of the characters, the way it looks, it's like, it doesn't make you excited either. And it's like the trailer, too. It's less of a trailer and just more like just showing off the gameplay, pretty much in a sense that they probably knew this game was gonna be hot garbage, but I don't even know how to really explain it. It is so awful. It's like, and the amount that people are actually playing the game, and it's like it's terrible. It's like I don't know where to start. I really don't. You know, I'm trying to think in my head. Do I want to talk about the gameplay? Do I want to talk about the graphics? I'm trying to think right now because like like I said, I've been pre-recording this video like crazy because like I honestly don't know what to really say about it, except obviously point out the obvious things with it, but we'll get to that, you know. So, like I say, there's nothing wrong with a game going for a more particular, you know, art style, but I'm sorry, it does not work. It really doesn't. Especially considering that this is kind of sort of meant to be part of the MonsterVerse, but that I don't think they really ever made it clear if that's the case. And you know, we all know what, you know, if you don't know what the MonsterVerse is, you know, that's like the current Godzilla and Kong films that we've been getting for the past couple years. You know, obviously not counting Toho. So obviously it started with 2014 Godzilla, you know, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla vs Kong, and now the new Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, and then there's also the new TV show Monarch: Legacy of Monsters, which is an Apple TV Plus, which I hate that. Why make it an Apple TV Plus? Are you serious? That's the most randomest like streaming platform I would ever expect. You know, Paramount Plus, okay. Netflix, okay. Apple TV Plus, god damn it. You know? Alright. So, of course, at least we can enjoy those properties instead of whatever this game is. And I sincerely hope that after this, it's not considered canon because I don't know. The game feels it's like it's shameful for sure. I don't even know what the story is about. It's supposed to be about like the story of like Kong during his days living on Skull Island, and then of course, I don't know. Even the story is all butchered. It's like I don't know if like you know, because we all know that there was supposed to be like a whole species of Kongs. We all know that, you know, giant gorillas. Okay, yeah, we already established that after watching Godzilla versus Kong. We already kind of get that sense and idea. But it's like I don't know if like in the flashbacks or so, is Kong supposed to be the little baby, or is he the father? Is he the mother? I don't know. The narrator doesn't really do too much of a good job. It's either that or I just wasn't paying attention too much. I don't know. So definitely for sure, the story is extremely lackluster. You are not gonna get anything out of it. This is a game that is simply made just to kind of play it in a quiet afternoon and then just kind of be done with it. I don't even know how long the game is. I refused to look up anything more about this game. It's like I don't know. Honestly, I even went as far as to watch all the boss fight complications. And hold that thought. Sorry about that. All right, yeah, no, my dad came in, so I was like, okay, hold on, let me pause for a second, all right? So, all right, back to what I was saying. So listen, I'm just gonna say it right now. I don't understand why is it that still to this very day, you'll have like video game companies that just push out video games that you just kind of play them and then that's about it. Because that's exactly what shovelware is. I mean, that's pretty much what it is, like low effort games, just to kind of make a quick buck and get put out on the market. You know who used to do that a lot? The Wii. There used to be like a whole shit ton of Wii games that were just nothing but shovelware. And the reason why is because when they used to make games for that system, whatever sort of like thing they have implemented, I'm guessing that what happened is that it was like super easy to make a Wii game. So pretty much anyone, especially like someone in their mom's basement, can do it pretty much though. And of course, these are the type of games where if you went to like Walmart, I mean, I don't think Target does, you know, like those weird bargain bin like DVDs, you know, the big giant thing that has nothing but like movies and stuff like that. They used to do the same thing with video games, the exact same thing. It was all just shovelware. I mean, the only difference is that with movies, I mean, you do find some good ones in there, so I don't know why, you know, they got the whole bin dedicated to that, but that's just my opinion. All right, I'm just saying that's pretty much what this game feels like. And you know, graphic wise, now I could be wrong. Don't quote me on this, okay? I'm not too sure. So the developers and the game company, right? So I guess this game was made by Game Mill Entertainment, which okay, that's a great name by the way, right? And then there's another one called Iguana B. I believe that's how you say it. I think I'm confusing it for another company or maybe another game. I feel like that this is the same. I like Iguana B. I feel like aren't they the same people that did the Superhero Squad, video game for the PS2? And I don't think so, if I'm being honest with you. But the reason why I'm doing that comparison is that if you compare the graphics from that game to this game, oh no, you can see where things went wrong. That's why the graphics look so terrible and just so weird as it is. And I know what you're thinking, Josh. What's wrong with Superhero Squad? Nothing. It's just that came on the PS2. You know what I mean? And this is supposed to be, and this game came out on both PS4 and PS5, two of the most updated consoles you could think of. Think about it. PS5 is out. People are still playing PS4, like myself. So it's like, what does that tell you about the type of quality we're dealing with? How does something like that get passed? That means somebody, or a bunch of people, they gotta play the game, the entire thing, and be like, yeah, you can set it out. You could bring it out to the market. People will still buy it. What is this, man? Come on now. It's an insult to both gaming and people's wallets, man. I think they were charging like I think maybe like 60 $70 or so. I'm not too sure because I know that if you buy a PS5 game, I know that you are technically paying like $10 more. So instead of like the usual 60, it's like 70 or so. But if you played this game like on Steam or something, or whatever sort of online platform people were playing it on, it was like already discounted. Like we're talking like 34.99, and it's like, wow, that went downhill pretty quick. And like and then the reviews are already coming in, and it's like, okay. So I want to talk a little bit more about the graphics, because now that I mentioned Superhero Squad, I remember that was a game that I got for Christmas. I used to remember that. And I was a kid, so I used to have fun with it, whatever. But obviously looking back at it now, it's definitely not as great as I remember it, but I guess it's still okay. But the problem with that game in particular, I feel like that with like the graphics and the way that the characters look and the animation of like how kind of smooth they are. I say kind of because the movements were pretty rough. With Skull Island, it's almost the same thing, except okay, there you might be lucky if like certain parts are so smooth, because for the most part, if you play this game without dealing with all the glitches and bugs, I mean, you still have an extremely boring game, because you're doing the exact same thing over and over and over. Walk here, run here, sprint here, fight a couple enemies. Sometimes either, I don't know if they like respawn, or like if you leave the area, they just kind of follow you. These enemies, they kind of seem to kind of do their own thing. I'm not really sure exactly how to even explain it. Not to mention even the combat too. It's like it's not creative either. You're basically, you hit the same buttons over and over and over, and there's nothing fresh. It's not like in like Devil May Cry, where at least when you hit the enemies, at least you could do a whole bunch of crazy moves and all that, and you could get tons of orbs for doing it, depending on how good your combo is. You know what I mean? So it's like same goes for God of War. God of War has an amazing combat system. Both, pretty much all the games do. Well, for the most part, I haven't played, the only God of War games I've never played are like the spin-offs, and the prequels, like God of War Ascension. I've never played that. I would like to, but that game was never, they never ported it to a PS4, so I believe you would probably have to buy that on the PlayStation Store with a PlayStation Plus subscription. And I'm like, oh, okay, so it's like, damn. Don't you just hate that you get a bunch of these games where you gotta download and stuff? You get like this one game, you think it's gonna be cool, and you can play it physical on console or download it, and it's like it's a piece of shit. And like back to the combo, I mean, you're like, that's all you do, and then you roll around too, but it's like the animations though, they feel kind of off-putting. You know what I mean? It's like they feel kind of smooth but kind of stiff at the same time. I don't even know how to really describe it, especially when you fight like the enemies and stuff. And of course, the reason why I keep mentioning the smoothness so much, it's because, like I said, in this situation, I don't know if it's like an artistic thing. I don't know if they decided to do that, or if they just didn't went back to like fix up the textures, because that's another thing too. There's barely any kind of textures in it. He walks through like this area where he fights like a giant worm, and it's like you got like a weird little mini desert going on, and it looks so plain. It just looks like they just kind of like put on a layer, put a little bit of some line designs, and then that's about it. It looks plain. That's the only way I can really describe it. Even if you look at Kong, wow, he looks terrible. He looks so bad. His fur. It doesn't even look like fur. It looks like you know what? I'm trying to look at my collection. I'm trying to think. Do I have a figure that's like that? I could have sworn I could have sworn I had like an action figure where he's all fur, but it's like it's just like there's no real like textural type fur. It's more like a chunk of plastic type fur, pretty much. He looks like an action figure. I was gonna say it. He looks like an action figure, but not the good kind of action figures. He looks like the type where like he's gonna break easily or something. And the expressions. That's another reason why I keep mentioning is this supposed to be like a cartoon because he makes faces, but he's like, and I'm like, Kong doesn't do that. Wait a minute. That animated Kong show that they're showing right now. I don't know if it's on Netflix. I don't know where. That looks 10 times better. And mind you, that's 2D. We're talking like some 3D like CG graphics right here, and it's like wow, it's bad. And like the cutscenes. Don't even get me started on one of the boss fights. Wow, I don't know if this is supposed to be the last boss of the game. Don't blame me for not keeping track. I don't want to invest any more into this game. Like no, this is. I already said shameful. It's like it's an insult, pretty much. There's this one where he's staring at this weird dinosaur thing, you know, and then like all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they put like a picture of like the dinosaur, and then a split second you see Kong like this, and it kind of zooms out. But like his eyes are like so wide to where you could. That's a graphical thing for sure. Something went wrong. Nobody went back and polished that for sure. Like wow. And look, I don't mean to keep mentioning Resident Evil so much, but it reminds me a little bit of like Resident Evil Survivor, where apparently when the game came out, it was not received well. It was garbage, and it was apparently it was revealed that there were no people that tested out the game, so like nobody knows like some of these parts work or not. So that's terrible. And to make things worse, a lot of the developers and all that made Resident Evil Survivor, those names were fake. Those were all just surnames. They didn't want to put their real names in this game. That's how bad it was. So I can only imagine if this was the same thing for this game, because you cannot be proud to make this. I'm sorry. Just because you have an IP that's booming and it's extremely popular right now, that doesn't give you the right to put a crap like low effort game like this. It is terrible, and it's like this. It's shovelware. There's no other way to really explain it, and it's sad because of course it's all because of the hype. Next year we have a brand new Godzilla movie coming out. Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. Well, I know with the writer's strike, it's 50-50 is going to come out next year. But you get the point, It's and then of course you got Monarch Legacy of Monsters, and heck, that not counting the MonsterVerse, there is a new Godzilla movie coming out called Godzilla Minus One, and it looks brutal. It looks like fantastic. It's something that a monster fan would definitely enjoy watching. So of course, why is it so hard to get a perfect giant monster game? Because I know that they did make like a Godzilla game a couple years back on PS4 and stuff, and a lot of people, it was like a mix between like people kind of liked it, but most people didn't really like it so much. But I think it was mostly because of the repetitive, gameplay of it. Uh, you know, and at least it features some of like your classic kaiju and stuff. That was like at least one of the best things about that game. But you get the idea. I don't know why it's so hard to make like a giant monster video game, especially considering that those Godzilla games that came out on the PS2, they did that pretty well. I don't know how well because I've unfortunately never played them, so I can't really give my opinion on that kind of stuff. But I'm just saying it'd be nice to have like a giant monster video game where you're fighting a whole bunch of like different creatures and stuff like that. I would be so happy if we one day get like an Ultraman game where you can like walk around the lands of Japan as Ultraman, or if they want to make it simple, you could play as the human characters fighting against the kaiju's, and then do like a big epic boss fight where you turn into Ultraman and you fight the bad guys, because Ultraman has that color timer thing where he can only be huge for like a couple minutes or so. So I get that you got kind of that kind of thing going on, and don't get me wrong, personal preference. I don't like games where you're being timed all the time and you gotta be Speedy Gonzales and all that. I mean, at least with Sonic it's okay. But like games like Splatterhouse 3, no, I'm sorry. Automatically not my favorite game, by the way. I'm just gonna say it right now. Splatterhouse 3 it's considered a classic on the Sega Genesis, but I'm sorry. I don't know, man. This game, however, should not be a classic. Skull, I guess that's it. I don't got nothing else to talk about. It's like don't buy this. Please don't. like pay close attention, you know, because everybody had that situation with like Gollum and stuff, where that game was pretty much put out. It was all glitchy and buggy. And oh, don't get me wrong, Skull Island, this game was also pretty buggy as well. I mean, like I say, look at the graphics for an example. Just look at like some of the running animations and all that. Just watch the playthroughs. Just watch them, okay? And it's like, you know, don't buy this game. Don't give this company your money, because it is of course shameful when they do shit like this, you know. It's like, it makes me upset that games like this are still being produced today, and I think that it is a huge like spit, you know, in the faces of like people that enjoy playing video games like these, you know. And it's like, you know, I get it, okay, fine, you know, every company needs to make money somehow, I understand, you know. That's why sometimes you'll get games that release like DLC and all that. And I'll admit it myself, I'm not the biggest DLC, you know, enjoyer either. I don't like that I would have to pay a little bit extra for some, you know, content, you know what I mean? But it's like, there's like, I can understand to a certain extent how it works. So again, I don't mean to keep bringing it back, but Resident Evil 4 remake, it's a pretty damn good game. It's fantastic, and it perfectly like captures everything from like the original game, and it does it 10 times better. And I remember a lot of people, for some odd reason, they end up not liking the game because they added the option to buy like the upgrade tickets, where you could upgrade your weapons to the max, but that was just more of an option. You weren't really obligated to do that. And then even though the mercenaries was free, people were of course bitching that you had to pay extra $10 for separate ways. But the thing is, that's DLC that was actually like well spent. It was actually worth it, and you do get a lot from it. So it's not like that you're only paying a little bit for just a little bit of, you know, some time. No, there's plenty of time to invest. This, however, I don't know how long this game is. I don't know if it is a long game. If it is, that's pretty bad, because you're going to be doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. You know, if it's a short game, that's worse, in my opinion, because if you're spending so much on a short game, especially one that glitches, doesn't have a good story, and of course the graphics seem a little bit off, and then of course the repetitiveness, and mind you, I don't think there's really that many bosses either. I could be wrong. I don't even think you ever fought a skull crawler. I don't remember. You fight mostly dinosaurs and like giant worms and stuff, which is fine. I think that's okay. But I don't know. Don't Your expectations cannot be high. You know, if for whatever weird reason you want to be a masochist and you want to play this game, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. You do you, because look, I love Marvel Legends. People talk shit about these toys all the time, but I still love them for what they were. And of course, I understand the problems that they have, you know, so I try to look at it like that. It's up to you if you want to buy this game. I'm just saying, for my personal opinion, don't do it, because look, you know, I get it. We want like a Kong, we want like a good Godzilla or good King Kong game. Yeah, me too. Of course, you know. I even made a video not too long ago talking about GI Joe, where they got a brand new game coming out. But it's like, I want like a GI Joe game where you can actually shoot people. You know, I want like an Uncharted style GI Joe game where you can like kill enemies and you can do some puzzles, because GI Joe definitely seems perfect for that. And of course the violence too. It's like you can still keep it moderate. You know, Uncharted does it perfectly, because all the games are rated teen for the most part. So it's like, come on now. You could put as much effort in a Kong game. Do some smash, you know, do some crazy stuff. Don't make it so simple. Come on now. Come on, developers. You know, who am I kidding? Of course, I know they're not watching this. Of course not. Why would they be watching this video? Do you think they're gonna understand the criticism? I'd be shocked if they end up surviving. It's like, bro, I get it. You got a job and stuff, but it's like, you cannot put out games like this. You can't. Also, it's made with using the Unreal Engine, which I don't see it. Like, really? It's made using Unreal Engine, where you make the graphics realistic as hell? No, 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 this does not, no, 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 no. And that's the other thing too. Why wouldn't you want a King Kong or a Godzilla game using like Unreal Engine graphics? Why? Like the actual real ones, like Resident Evil with the re-engine, or even Devil May Cry 5 used the re-engine. Come on, guys, this shouldn't be all, you know. Yeah, that's about it. I don't got nothing else to talk about. So yeah, you guys heard my rant. This is an extremely long one, but I hope it was worth it. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm gonna end the video because this video has went on for way too long. All right, I'm sorry, but like, please, for the love of God, don't buy this game. Don't. Okay. As a kaiju fan, don't do it. Okay. Please. Peace out. Also subscribe if you're new.